Okay, so you're running a business, right? Trying to make sense of the whole digital world. You need a website, obviously, good branding, social media that actually gets people talking, maybe video, but it often feels like you're juggling, loads of different people. Agencies, freelancers, different platforms. Everyone seems to have their own schedule, their own way of doing things, maybe even their own idea of your brand voice. It just feels messy, fragmented, and the results often kind of disjointed.
Yeah, that feeling. Being pulled everywhere at once. It's super common. We hear that a lot. And that's precisely the problem. The source material we're looking at today tackles head on. It doesn't just point out the issue, though. It puts forward this concept, the one-stop digital partner, as, well, potential answer to that fragmentation.
Exactly. And this deep dive is all about unpacking that for you, our listener. We're using source material that highlights a company, WBMS Web Developers, as sort of a case study for this model. Our goal here is simple. Understand what this source says. What does one stop actually involve? Why does this material present it as the way forward? And specifically, what does a company like WBMS, based purely on this text, offer? We're sticking strictly to the source.
Okay, let's dive right in then. What does the source material pinpoint as the main drawbacks of that traditional fragmented approach?
Well, the source is pretty direct about it. It highlights the sort of chaos that can happen when you use different providers for different digital tasks.
Yeah.
One agency doing the website build, someone else doing graphics, a freelancer managing social, maybe another company for video ads. And the source spells out the fallout. Inconsistency is a big one. Your message, your look, it's all over the place. Then there's communication breakdowns. Things get delayed because everyone's in their own little world, right? And the end result, it says, is a brand identity online that just feels scattered, not cohesive, a real drag on getting things done effectively.
Yeah, sounds like a total headache. And that's where this one-stop digital partner idea comes in, which the source positions as the fix.
Yeah.
So apart from just being easier, what are the actual benefits the source lists for this kind of integrated approach? What's the upside?
The source lays out several key advantages. First up, a unified strategy. That's a big one. Instead of different vendors, maybe even pulling in different directions, you have one team, one plan, one consistent brand voice across everything.
Okay, one team, one dream, basically.
Kind of, yeah. Then it mentions cost efficiency. The idea is that bundling services with one partner can actually work out cheaper than buying them all separately.
Makes sense. Package deal.
Exactly. And then there's speed and simplicity. Streamlined communication, faster approvals. Things just get done quicker when it's all under one roof, according to the text. And finally, the source talks about ongoing support. It frames it less like a one-off project and more like a long-term thing, a partnership that grows with the business.
Right, adapting as the business needs change. That makes sense. So the source uses WBMS Web Developers as an example of this in action. What does the material tell us about their specific services? What's actually included in their one-stop shop, according to the text?
It gives a pretty comprehensive list, actually, starting with the basics, the foundation, website and app development. This covers the whole spectrum full stack development, so front end and back end, UI UX design, making sure it's easy and enjoyable to use, responsive sites, obviously working on phones, tablets, desktops, mobile apps too, and e-commerce platforms, which are critical for so many businesses.
Yeah.
The source mentions this is all delivered through something called WBMS Web and App Development Services.
Okay, so they build the digital storefront, the engine, but a brand needs its visual identity too, and content, ways to connect. What else does the source say WBMS bundles in?
Definitely. So building on that tech foundation, the source lists graphics and branding. This includes, designing the logo, creating things like promotional posters, business cards, even QR code designs. And crucially, it mentions ensuring that branding is consistent everywhere, online, offline, digital, print, making sure it all looks and feels like the same brand.
And what about getting eyeballs on all this? Reaching potential customers?
Marketing. Yep. That's covered under what the source calls digital marketing and growth services. This involves things like strategic email marketing, setting up automated campaigns for nurturing leads, really important stuff, and also social media growth strategies. The text specifically mentions methods to boost followers and engagement organically.
Organically, okay, not just paid ads.
Right. And because visuals are huge now, the source adds video creation and promotional content. So making YouTube videos, short stuff like Reels and Shorts, general promo videos, even more polished corporate branding videos, it seems aimed at covering all the content bases for visibility.
The source also touched on the very beginning of the journey, just getting started online. How does it describe WBMS handling that initial setup?
Yes. The domain booking and digital identity setup. The source positions their platform, website builder.marketshoppy.com, which it calls WBMS, as the starting point. It says this platform allows for instant domain booking, provides hosting, and gives access to the basic tech tools you need to get that initial digital footprint established quickly, like the front door to their services.
Okay, so they cover the whole life cycle, from idea to execution and growth. Now, how do you manage all that? The source mentioned a specific app they have. What does it say the WBMS app does?
Right, the WBMS Web Developers app. Yeah. The source describes it as basically a central dashboard for clients. Its main job is to make the whole process smoother, managing projects, checking on updates in real time, submitting requirements, communicating directly with the WBMS team. The text really emphasizes transparency and accessibility, knowing what's happening with your project, being able to collaborate easily anytime, anywhere.
Transparency is key. Okay, the source uses this phrase, real brands, real results, and gives some examples. What types of businesses or industries does it claim WBMS works with using this model?
It lists quite a few, showing some breadth. Let's see, retail and e-commerce, education, healthcare, real estate, restaurants and hospitality, and even entertainment and influencers. And the source makes a point here. It suggests that this kind of comprehensive service package allows smaller businesses, across these different sectors to compete more effectively, to have the agility and creative punch that maybe only bigger companies could afford before.
Interesting point about leveling the playing field. So let's put this all together. We've got the problem fragmentation, the solution integration via a one-stop partner. We've got WBMS's specific services list, their app, their industry scope. How does the source frame all this looking ahead? How is choosing this model, and specifically WBMS, according to the text, presented as a way to future-proof your business?
Well, the source's angle on future-proofing isn't about, say, predicting the next big thing in tech. It's more fundamental. It argues the digital world is always changing. That's a given. But the businesses that thrive are the ones that can adapt fast, stay consistent with their brand everywhere, and keep offering value. So choosing WBMS, as presented in the source, isn't just about buying services now. It's framed as building a long-term relationship, a partnership with a team that gets your brand deeply. And the implication is that relationship, that embedded understanding and integrated capability is what helps a business navigate whatever changes come next.
A partnership, not just a provider. That's a key distinction it seems to be making.
It really is. And what's quite striking is how the source positions this shift, moving from juggling vendors to having one integrated partner, as more than just convenient. It frames it as, strategically essential for growth in today's digital age.
So we've really dug into this source material. We've looked at its take on the pitfalls of fragmented digital services, the advantages it sees in the one-stop digital partner model, and how it presents WBMS web developers as an example of this. We covered their specific offerings, the app they use, the industries they apparently serve, all based purely on the text provided.
And, as mentioned in the source, if listeners are interested in finding out more about WBMS web developers based on what we've discussed from this material, the contact details provided are phone or WhatsApp on +91 888-228-7267, email at websitebuilder.tech@gmail.com, and the website is websitebuilder.marketshoppy.com, WBMS.
So, for you listening, here's something to think about as you digest all this. If this source material has it right, if having one partner manage everything digital from the domain name and website build right through to the day-to-day marketing, branding, video, everything, if that is the future, what does that mean for how businesses should structure themselves? What skills do you need in-house versus what kind of external relationships should you be building? It definitely challenges the traditional way of thinking about digital teams and agencies, something to mull over after this deep dive.